In a week of footy which brought us the first game of Origin, Broncos in shambles, and so many close games. This is LTW. People of New South Wales, we've done it! Well, we haven't fully done it yet, but we have won the first game of Origin. Their final score was 6-18. Try scorers for the Blues were Lomax twice, To'o and Edwards. Cleary scored a penalty goal for us, same on the opposite side for the Maroons, with Valentine Holmes scoring a penalty goal. But Xavier Coates was the man to get that try for the Maroons, 6-18 as I mentioned before. It was a good game for the Blues, but I do believe they could have done better. They probably could have scored a few more tries, but I'm not complaining. We got that win. Clutch Cleary missed multiple conversions. I know Lomax missed one, but at least he played really well. Cleary, I know there won't be a lot of people to agree with me on this, but he didn't really play super good. And obviously those conversions were definitely not good enough from that type of range. But obviously, I'm not a professional NRL player, so I don't know. But I'm just saying from what it looked like, you'd think he should be scoring those. But except for that, I'm going to take it. I'm happy that the Blues won. Let's move on to the round of NRL. Okay, so it kicked off with the Dragons taking on the Knights. Not too much to say here, it was very expected. The Dragons got 20 points and the Knights got 6. So good win for the Dragons. They knew they got the win, they would move up into the 8. But put a bit more pressure on them, but they did really well, they played well. And good job to the Dragons, they move up to the top 8. And a good win over the Knights. The Knights have just not been performing good enough, I guess. Then the Titans and the Storm played. Obviously the Storm got a win as very much expected, but the Titans did have some opportunities. The Titans at times looked like they were going to pull up an upset, but it never ended up happening, and the Storm stayed calm, and there was no bottle throwing anywhere. Okay, then to the Cowboys and the West Tigers games, and this was wow, what a game. Now with 20 minutes to go, the Cowboys had a big lead. I think it was like 32-6. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it was such a big lead, it looked like this was going to be all over. Which turns out it was all over, but forget about that for a second. The Tigers scored, and they scored, and they scored, and they scored, and they kept on scoring. The score went up to 32-28. Unfortunately, it was too late for them to go and score another one, but what an effort from the Tigers. They never backed down, never give up. Nick A. Okay, no. Okay, back to the NRL. No, but they played well. They never stopped. They never gave up. They just kept on playing, and they were able to. Well, obviously, no, it didn't end up in the result they wanted to. They still lost, but it was a good performance for them in the last 20 minutes. Then the Manly Sea Eagles took on the Broncos. Now, with some news going around that DCE was going to get dropped from this Maroon team for the next game. He wanted to prove the haters wrong, people. He himself had some amazing kicks against the Broncos and definitely helped Manly able to secure a very dominant victory, 34-6. Good job the Manly, that's a dominant win, but the Broncos have just not been good over the last few weeks, and this is starting to be a proper issue for them, so we'll have to see if they're able to get back to their normal Bronco type of mindset, I guess. Then the Rabbitohs and the Warriors. Now, this was an epic game. The Rabbitohs had chances. They had chances to win this game. It was a close one. Both teams played really well. The Warriors, well done to them. Obviously, they went away in Sydney, and they were able to get that win. Terrific game, 30-36. Good job to the Warriors. I did think the Rabbitohs were going to pull an upset, and they had opportunities, but they weren't able to get it. But they'll definitely bounce back for next week when the Rabbitohs play the Raiders. Actually, maybe rewind that, because I don't know if they can bounce back against the Raiders. But maybe after the Raiders. Who they got after the Raiders? They got the Bulldogs. Okay, seriously, the NRL hates me. Okay, after the Bulldogs. Then they got the Storm. Okay, after the Storm. They got the Dolphins. Okay, just wait a few more weeks and they'll bounce back. But what a coincidence, right? I say that, and then they play the Raiders, and then they play the Bulldogs, and then they play the Storm. But anyway, sure, eventually they might bounce back if the NRL gets me to. Lets them to. Anyway, now to the Penrith versus the Eels game. Now, in the blue celebration bit at the start of the video, I was trying to keep calm and not get super angry at Nathan Cleary, but now I am. Clutch Cleary, they call you, Nathan. Big chinny chin, bro. But when for New South Wales taking these conversions, he's not clutch. He didn't get. I'm just gonna say it now because I'm really annoyed about it, because he didn't play the best for us and he missed all those conversions. But then all of a sudden, when he plays for Penrith against us, he's able to score those conversions. He's able to be what a great player, which we know he is, and it's really frustrating. Like, I'll be annoyed at it. Obviously, he does this against the Eels. Like, if at least just do it for the Blues as well, bro. It finished 18-10. If you couldn't tell that, we definitely lost this. And I'm not fully disappointed in the boys. The Eels played decent well at times. They got quite an early try, but they did have opportunities and they should have taken them. And I think we should have got that win. But I give props to the Panthers. They have a lot of players who played Origin. That's because they have a really good team, but for some reason they just haven't been at the best so far this season. But good job to them. It was a great match to see. Panthers, they move up a few positions now. Then the final game was the Roosters and the Raiders. I'll tell you what, this one got close. This game was a really close one for the Raiders. I think they had like the most wins yet this season. They're currently, I think, one of the most dominant sides in the league, which is crazy. They're not even in first place. The Roosters have looked pretty good over the last couple of weeks. They've been performing quite well, but it was just one like, oh, maybe they can try and sneak one, which they nearly did. But it was all expected for the Raiders to get the win. They are in the high position in the table. That's all for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to the Discord as always. I know there's a little problem with my Nathan Cleary video and stuff, but thank you all for people viewing it. See you guys next time. Have a good day, guys. Goodbye.